been given the credit for being the father of kickboxing.
Oh yeah, because I remember when he first, how this got started, he was responsible for me just quit taking lessons from one school after another. I used to go from school to school and join up and drive out there, from Sacramento.
Right.
And so he said, what the hell are you doing? I said, well, I'm trying to find a secret. He said, the secret's within yourself, man. Okay. He said, you had boxing experience.
Yeah.
Believe me. He said, if you took that boxing, and if you really had to use it, you go after Professor Wong, you kick him on his ass. Exactly word. I said, oh, come on.
That must have been kind of shocking.
Yeah, it was. I said, come on, man.
Yeah.
I said, what makes you think the guy can fight? And he opened my eyes.
Okay.
And the thing is, what confirmed it is funny. I was training one day, and there was a 10-year student down there. All he been doing was doing form for 10 years. And he wanted to spar. I slapped him all over the place. I mean, all I did was just bounce around and move and move and move and move.
Right.
And he was on the horse stance and trying to figure out how to use those movements.
Right.
And they were too slow.
Right.
You see, there's only one way of free fighting, but there's many ways of training.
Right. That's correct.
So he opened my eyes, and I said, wait a minute, this guy, he's not even 20 years old, and he's giving me all this wisdom, about fighting.
Right.
And then as I went to his house, I used to sit there in his study, and on this side of the wall is all martial arts book. On this is all philosophy book, and on this is all self-improvement book, how to study yourself.
Right. That's interesting.
Yeah. And I said, the guy's got it,
So that explains pretty much what caliber of a teacher he was in terms of his approach to martial arts.
Yeah. You see, the thing about Bruce is I have not seen any of his students that will really say ass kickers, But the thing is, they do have the philosophical base.
Okay.
Yeah. Because there's only one Bruce Lee.
Is this maybe one reason why people who are advocating teaching Bruce Lee's system say that they're only teaching concepts of Jeet Kune Do?
Because Bruce never gave a person techniques.
Right.
He gave them concepts.
Right.
He'd sit there for like in the class in Broadway. I remember a couple of Kimpo guys said, man, I don't know why I'm staying here. So all I hear is talk. He don't show us anything. At least I go to Kimpo school. I learn a trick or two every time.
Okay.
And then I didn't realize that until after years later. I said, wait a minute. He taught us to fish. He didn't give us a fish. If you give a man a fish, you feed him one day.
Right.
You teach him to fish, you taught him to feed himself the rest of his life. That's what Bruce did.
Okay.
You see, that's what I got out of it. And so he gave me a philosophical, conceptual foundation, and from that I could build on.
Okay.
He's not saying that this is bad and that is bad.
Right.
He's saying, hey, if it works, integrate it. If it don't, drop it.
Do you think that that's one reason why it's so hard for people to define Bruce Lee's Jeet Kune Do or Jun Fan Kung Fu? He didn't approach it in any one particular way.
Yeah. No, I think, you see, it's just my hunch. I'm not saying that this is absolute. I'm looking at Danny Insano and all those other guys.
Now, you're his senior in actuality.
No. In actuality, I trained with Bruce a long time before any of those guys. Okay. Because I started day one. But they're going to say that I never had any training under Bruce. I never knew Bruce. I mean, that's what they're going to go around telling. Dave Cater saying that. And I was around before Dave was even born, I think.
So he actually wouldn't know anything other than what was told.
What he does is picking up on what everybody else says. Okay. See, because one now, the Jeet Kune Do thing has become political.
Right.
And I'm sure that Bruce Lee would turn over his grave if he knows that, and I'm sure he knows that what they're doing with it. They exploit it.
Right.
Okay. The thing is, the reason those guys are going into Kali and all the other arts, they're not teaching straight Jeet Kune Do. It's because there's nothing to really teach, hand somebody that's tangible.
Right.
See, with a stick, that's tangible.
Right.
So, okay, you strike this way, you strike that way. But with Jeet Kune Do, you say, you're going to learn Jeet Kune Do, then what are you going to teach?
Right.
We're going to talk about philosophy. We're going to talk about concepts.
Okay.
See, so for me, my Jeet Kune Do began begins with boxing.
Okay.
So Bruce Jeet Kune Do begins with Wing Chun Kung Fu,
right.
a modified form.
Okay.
Okay, so what you have here is the modern Jeet Kune Do people. It's got a mishmash of everything and trying to make it work as one.
Mm-hmm.
I had a guy from Texas call me one day. He said, "Hey, I took one of those seminars with those guys, and I learned so many arts, I don't know what to do."
Mm-hmm.
I said, "So the problem you have is assimilating."
Right.
He said, "Yeah, I guess so." He said, "I learned Indonesian art.
Mm-hmm.
I learned Jeet Kune Do concepts. I learned Kali, and I learned Silat, and then I learned Muay Thai kickboxing.
Mm-hmm.
But how do I, I spend 8 hours in a seminar. How do I make it work?
Right.
What do I do?"
Right.
See, so you can see the concept that Bruce was talking about is you're taking all these things as one, and all yet none.
Okay.
A system without a system.
Right.
So what it boils down to is I'm trying to define it the best way I know how is instinctive reaction.
Right.
So whatever you do to me, then that's how I'm going to do it.
So you sort of blend in.
I don't have a specific plan how I'm going to do it because I don't have a scenario.
Right.
It depends upon what you're going to do.
Okay.
Yeah.
So literally speaking, anybody can claim to be a Jeet Kune Do stylist in a sense,
I think
using
so.
that concept.
I think so.
Uh-huh.
So you see, I think so. What makes you think that you have the monopoly?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Because I know that that has been what has been happening is trying to monopolize on what Bruce Lee taught in such a way. But if you can't actually define any one way of JKD as far as how you've done this or got to this point and so forth, how do you package that? And
well, the thing is I think you have to package it within the context of what you know.
mm-hmm.
See, there's no way of saying, well, if you try to imitate somebody else, it ain't gonna work.
Right.
See, so one thing that Bruce was stickler about is your own self-identification.
Okay.
You see, that's why he had a lot of criticism about being lining up 10 people and everybody's like a 10 soldier walking the same way and punching the same way. He said, you got a fat guy, you got a short guy, you got a tall guy, you got all kinds of guys. So what you got to do, each one has to have his own agenda.
Okay.
You see.
Right.
And that makes sense because
makes a lot
I found out because when he told me, he says, "Hey, what you know is more than you're going to ever learn from these guys." Okay. And I started waking up, and pretty soon not only did I save money, I started developing. I started growing martial art wise myself, and I started saying, "Hey, there's no right or wrong way of doing it. It's your way or his way."
Right.
Because like I sit there and I can have you see, I trained Taekwondo for a while there with Kung. I can stand there and do kicks all day long. He'll never be perfect for him.
Right.
But for me, my test is, will it work?
Right.
And even though it looks bad, it worked. I don't know if you ever remember a guy named Gene Fuller. He was world middleweight champion.
No.
He is ungodly, the most uncoordinated, and the most awkward-looking guy I ever see. He fight like this. They had a hell of a time trying to figure him out.
Okay.
And finally, he fought Sugar Ray Robinson. Robinson knocked him out when he made a comeback.
Okay.
But until then, Fuller was a hard guy to fight. I used to hate to watch him because he was so awkward.
Yeah.
But nobody could do anything with him.
Okay.
He was built solid,
Yeah.
And he was awkward fighting.
Right.
But he fought his own way. See, so he threw every punch wrong. That's what the trainer said. He threw every punch wrong.
Yeah.
But that was his identity.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that Bruce was teaching, because back in 1970, I think 71, I enrolled at Sacramento State, and to get my master's in social work. And at that first semester, I studied a psychotherapist by the name of Fritz Perl.
Okay.
And Fritz had a book called Gestalt Therapy, so when I read it, the first thing Fritz had in that book was I didn't come into that was the Gestalt therapy's Gestalt's prayer. He said, I didn't come into the world to live up to your standards or live up to your expectations, and you didn't come into the world to live up to mine. And so, you know, and I don't remember the whole prayer. I forgot it. I didn't try to memorize it. He said, but if we meet, that's good. If we don't, you go your way and I go mine. Something like that.
Okay.
And the bottom line in that was that in order for us to free ourselves of neuroses, we need to have our own identity.
Right.
And so I sent that book to Bruce, and I have a letter. And he read the book and he said, wow, this guy, he said, he's screwy, but the guy got something to say. Okay. And right after he got the book, he wrote this article in Black Girl magazine. You remember there was a article I have that is out of print. He has a mustache, and he had on boxing gloves, and he was posing in front with Ted Wong.
I remember that article.
Yeah, that article had to do with freedom.
Okay.
And if I can find it somewhere, I'll send it to you. You read that article.
I'd love to see that.
And so that article